Imagine this. You've worked your whole life, paid your taxes, bought a home, saved for your children. And then, when you die, the government steps in not to offer condolences, but to take more than half of what you leave behind. Your family, still mourning, now faces a bill so large, they might have to sell the very home you built for them. This isn't dystopian fiction. This is Labour's Britain. A Britain where death itself is no longer sacred, but taxable. And this is only week one. Before we expose the shocking collapse inside Labour, the growing fury over their economic plans, and the rise of a political challenger reshaping Britain, hit like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts below. Would you trust Labour with your home, your legacy, your country? Because what you hear next might change everything. The headlines were brutal. Grieving families face 54% death tax. Labour, barely days into office, is reportedly exploring capital gains reforms that would strike hardest at the most vulnerable moment in life, after death. The proposal? Scrap the long-standing uplift on death rule. Combine inheritance tax with capital gains. End result? Families inheriting homes or assets could be hit with taxes exceeding 50%. The Telegraph, GB News, and MSN all reported it, a tax raid on the dead. But the outrage wasn't just about money, it was about morality. A woman dies. Her children inherit the family home. Under Labour's plan, they'd owe a tax bill so high, they might be forced to sell. This isn't closing loopholes. This is punishing legacy. Punishing love. Punishing responsibility. And for what? To patch up a broken treasury, already reeling from mismanagement. She was supposed to be the responsible one. Rachel Reeves, the Tyne Chancellor, promised discipline, clarity, stability. What did we get instead? Chaos. Her very first week saw humiliating U-turns, starting with the ISA fiasco. Under proposed changes, Reeves's Treasury plan to limit or scrap tax-free cash ISAs, popular savings tools for millions of Brits trying to shield their savings from inflation. Within 72 hours, the backlash forced her to retreat. The press called it humiliating. Commentators, including the legendary Andrew Neil, tore her apart. This isn't economic policy, he said. It's nonsense dressed as reform. Even Labour MPs admitted privately, we weren't ready for power. The honeymoon didn't just end, it crashed and burned. Behind the scenes, Labour is already splintering. The powerful Unite Union, once Labour's fiercest ally, suspended Deputy Leader Angela Rayner over internal investigations. But that wasn't the real earthquake. Union insiders hinted that Unite might cut ties with Labour entirely. Let that sink in. Labour soul, its trade union backbone, is now questioning whether the party still represents working people. And they're not alone. Local Labour councils are already grumbling. Young activists are disillusioned. Older voters feel betrayed. Inside Parliament, whispers are turning into panic. If this is what week one looks like, said one Labour backbencher, we won't survive year one. While Labour bleeds, a new force is rising. Reform UK, led once again by Nigel Farage, is storming through local elections, council seats, and public sentiment. In towns Labour thought it owned, they're losing. Places like Grimsby, Walsall, Hartlepool. Voters once dyed-in-the-wool red are switching, and they're not looking back. Farage speaks their language. Anti-tax. Anti-establishment. Pro-Britain. And while Labour sends out spreadsheets and soundbites, Farage shows up at pubs, markets, schools, listening. Even international events reflect the shift. When Macron invited the British delegation to a glittering banquet in Paris, Farage was banned. To some, it was protocol. To millions of reform supporters, it was proof the elite fear him. And nothing galvanizes a movement like being shut out by the establishment. Keir Starmer promised seriousness. Logic. Grown-up politics. So when he unveiled his migrant deal with the EU, many expected clarity. What they got was chaos. The agreement promised cooperation on asylum seekers, but offered no clear numbers, no caps, and no real enforcement. Critics called it a Trojan horse. One of the harshest voices was Dr. Azim Ibrahim, a respected policy expert, who slammed the deal as a total farce. Doomed from day one. Designed to mislead. He added, "The public deserves the truth. This government can't or won't deliver it." Worse still, Starmer followed it with a national security speech so vague, so generic, that even his own front bench struggled to defend it. He spoke about terrorism, but offered no new countermeasures. He mentioned borders, but refused to mention numbers. The message was clear: he's afraid to lead. The economy is wobbling. Mortgage rates are biting. Inflation is lingering. And now, under Labour, the message to savers, workers, and families is: you'll pay for our mess. Tax rises are being floated quietly. ISAs are under review. Inheritance laws are being rewritten. And the average British family? They're expected to smile, pay, and stay quiet. But they're not staying quiet anymore. In pubs, in schools, in hospitals, in council halls, something is shifting. This isn't about one bad policy. It's about a pattern. A chancellor who panics. A prime minister who hesitates. A party that fractures. And a country that's watching, waiting, for someone to take charge. And into that void steps reform. Not perfect. Not polished. But bold. The contrast couldn't be sharper. Labour says, slow down. Reform says, stand up. Labour says, trust us. Reform says, trust yourself. And voters, especially the millions who feel left behind, are beginning to believe it. So let's ask the real question. Is this the Labour government you imagined? One that taxes the dead. One that panics under pressure. One that loses its own union backbone in week one. One that lets Farage speak louder than the Prime Minister. And one that fumbles the most sensitive issue in British politics, immigration. We're not even out of July. And already, Labour feels like it's crumbling. The press is turning. The unions are rebelling. The people are drifting. And reform is rising. This isn't just a political shift. It's a national moment of reckoning. Let us know in the comments. Is this the beginning of a new political age? Or a return to the old chaos, just in red instead of blue? Hit like. Subscribe. And tell your friends, Britain is waking up. Because in this new Labour era, nothing, not even death, is safe from the taxman.